What's up, y'all? So, apparently the alcohol industry is slowly but surely dying. Thanks to legalization in certain states that is currently sweeping the nation, and if we're lucky, and the Trump administration sits where the fuck they are at and chill, it's going to continue to sweep the nation. There's been some studies that have been released recently that say that now 1/4 of alcohol consumers are switching to marijuana. The actual percent was 27%. 27% of people that are regular alcohol customers are deciding now to become cannabis customers and to use cannabis over alcohol. I've said this for a long time, even when I was younger, that I think most people do prefer cannabis. You don't have the nausea, you don't have to worry about being impaired as much. Not saying that you should necessarily drive on marijuana, but you actually definitely can drive more safer. You can drive more safely on marijuana than you can on if you're under the influence of alcohol. Once again, I'm not condoning that, but it's just a safer drug in general. You're not gonna wake up, be throwing up the next day. You're not gonna fucking have cannabis poisoning like you can have alcohol poisoning. But it's looking like, just like we said, that the alcohol industry is going to slowly start to die off. Now, I know that it's not going to completely die. I know that it's not going to completely go away because people still want to drink, people still want to go out, and there's going to be people that prefer alcohol over marijuana. In my opinion, that's going to generally be the people that are a little older that still have this negative stigma of marijuana in their head. They feel like, marijuana is dope. They feel like, weed's for dopers, it's for losers, it's for fucking people that aren't going to be very that aren't going to contribute very much to society. But in all reality, we know that alcohol is the worst drug. Alcohol causes relationships to fail, it causes marriages to fail, it causes violence, it causes death, it causes all kinds of things that are negative that, let's be real, marijuana doesn't. So with all that being said, I am just super fucking excited that this is actually starting to happen. As I've covered before, in a lot of these states that medical marijuana has become legalized and recreational, we have seen a major drop in opioid deaths and even just admittance to the hospital for people on pills and things like that. So people are choosing cannabis over these more dangerous drugs. And they're doing it at an alarming rate in a good way. They're doing it very quickly. Also, since I've moved to Colorado, I think I've talked about this before, people smoke cigarettes here, but it's not like Virginia. It's not like anywhere on the East Coast, at all. People tend to be a little more health-minded here in Colorado, but I also think that part of that is the fact that cannabis is legal. I have a lot of people back home that I know that smoke cigarettes, and they say it all the time, well, if I could smoke weed, I wouldn't smoke cigarettes. So I think that has a lot to do with it. So not only are we seeing people, we're seeing a drop in illicit drugs. We're seeing a drop in people using, pills and things like that and other illicit drugs like heroin. We're also seeing a drop in people using alcohol and tobacco. So for these politicians that want to keep promoting this propaganda of how dangerous marijuana is and how, having more people smoking marijuana is not what we need in society, they're not basing this off any facts whatsoever. All of this is based on opinion and personal bias, and probably, if they're a politician, propaganda. It's based on the fact that their constituents that pay them want them to fucking say this. The fact that the people that are supporting them isn't the marijuana industry. Maybe that's what we need to do. This is a personal, anybody that's in the marijuana industry that has any power, that owns anything, that can do any type of lobbying, why don't you guys start lobbying fucking politicians? Like the meat and dairy industry do, like the alcohol industry does, like the fucking tobacco industry does. Why are we not lobbying these politicians as well? Because that's the only reason that shit like this continues to exist. The only reason that the meat and dairy industry is still existing in the, God, I'm such a lost for words today. The fact that it's existing to the extent that it still does, that it hasn't been diminished as much by the vegetarian and vegan movement, is because of the lobbying, because of what they're doing with these politicians, because of the money that they throw around. So if we could do that on the marijuana side, maybe things would change a little more quickly. And once again, that's just an opinion, but I'm pretty sure that that's fact. How you guys doing? Either way, I'm fucking excited that people are choosing cannabis over these more dangerous drugs. I'm excited that in general, more people are using cannabis because it's going to show that it's not as detrimental as politicians would like for us to think, as lawmakers would like for us to think, as the alcohol industry would like for us to think, as the pharmaceutical industry would like for us to think. That's another thing too, guys. Like, you guys have to realize, with marijuana being legalized, it puts a lot of pharmaceutical companies at risk or potentially out of business. Marijuana can heal so many different things. You know how many different fucking pills are prescribed in lieu of marijuana for so many different things? You know how many different things that marijuana treats, that all these pills treat one of those things? That's fucking insane. So, alcohol is dying off. It's never gonna completely die. Never. I don't think it's ever gonna completely die. Plane flying overhead. But it's going to be reduced greatly, and I think that that's necessary. I think that alcohol, I drink very rarely. I go out with friends. It's the only time I drink. I don't really sit at home and drink like that. And when I do, I don't drive. I get an Uber, or I make sure we have a DD or something like that. And I think that with people drinking alcohol less, it's inevitably going to be less DUIs. It's going to be less people dying in alcohol-related crashes. It's going to be a lot less alcohol-related aggression and fights and crimes that are related to alcohol. So it's a positive. It's definitely a positive. But you guys drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about it. Do you choose marijuana over alcohol? Do you choose alcohol over marijuana? Do you like fucking acid better? Do you do pharmaceuticals, man? I know some people are scared, you know, to say things like that, but if you're not, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know what you prefer and why. And what do you guys think? Like, how long do you think until marijuana is the drug of choice in this country? Because right now it's alcohol, and I guess you can say tobacco. But I would like to think, I think a decade would be a little too soon. In my opinion, in 20 years, I think marijuana will be the drug of choice. Like I said, alcohol is not gonna ever be gone completely, but I think marijuana's kicking the door in rather forcefully. So y'all drop a comment below, let me know what y'all think. Smoke your problems away, bitch, we out.